Hello guys, I'm Adriana and I'm currently a freshman in Muskegon High School. I'm interviewing people who used to walk these halls who are now big people who are doing big things, people working for NASA and other, just making their careers explode. I'm learning what it takes to be in a great college and be in a great career just like them. Hello, my name is Adriana Nixon. I'm currently a freshman at Muskegon High School.
Hi, it's nice to meet you. I'm Elizabeth Marks. I graduated from Muskegon High School in 2010. It's been a while.
What were some of your favorite courses and activities in high school?
When I started freshman year, band was a pretty big one because the marching band would gather before classes started. So it was a really great way to meet other people that were other freshmen to kind of make the first year way less intimidating.
I love band. Band is awesome. What did you do after high school?
After high school, I went to college. I went to the University of Michigan. I went as engineering, but undecided what specific type of engineering I wanted to do. Because at that point, I hadn't taken a lot of engineering specific classes. So the nice part about going to a university that has a lot of engineering types is that I didn't have to choose. I could kind of test stuff out and see which classes I enjoyed the most after I got there, which was really cool.
So what exactly does an electrical engineer do?
So a lot of times people consider it the same as the electricity in your house, wiring your home, but it's not necessary. It's not really tied into that. It does use electricity as the basis, but a lot of it is circuit cards that are inside your cell phones or your computers, designing those. But then there's also more complex ideas about radio transmission, so designing antennas so that signals can transmit wirelessly through the air. And then there's also power lines that distribute power between neighborhoods and then into people's homes. And there's also kind of lower level chemical design that they use to make integrated chips that go onto the circuit boards that go inside computers and phones. So that's a little bit more chemical, but it's really broad.
Now that you are working for NASA, what does a typical day look like in your job?
Well, I think for everybody, the last year of a couple of years with the pandemic, my typical day has not looked the same as it used to beforehand. A lot more working from home than I've done previously. And I've actually only been in the current role that I'm in for just under a year. So the project that I'm supporting is, it's a spacecraft with a payload deck attached to it. And the whole purpose of that spacecraft is to autonomously refuel satellites that are already in Earth's orbit. So there's a bunch of satellites up there that allow us to transmit signals up to them and then back down to Earth. And but over time, they're not being refueled, or if there's something that breaks on them, they're not getting fixed. And so rather than sending up a person like an astronaut to fix it, they're trying to design a spacecraft that will autonomously do that with robotic arms and a bunch of tools attached to it. So that's the project that I'm supporting. But it's really complex, so I'm only doing a very small piece of it. And I'm just focusing on testing the ability for that spacecraft to dock, to come together with the satellites that are in orbit, and then to release them. So a lot of the stuff that I do is getting documents prepared and people prepared to perform those tests on site, because there's lots of different operators that have to be present the day of and doing trial runs of the sequence of grasping the satellite with the robotic arm. And lots of different applications and software has to be developed to be able to kind of process the data that we're collecting when we're doing those runs. And so lots of stuff like that, just a variety of documentation, on-site work, debugging, developing software and hardware to be able to perform the test.
What are the top skills needed to be good and succeed in your job?
The number one biggest thing is just approaching everything with a problem-solving mindset, because it's not like school where you learn a specific problem and then you're able to solve it like using the specific steps laid out for you. Engineering is really based in like not understanding kind of what the solution is and just trial and error until you get to something that works. So that can be really intimidating when you're used to everything kind of being explained of the process and being comfortable just learning new things, you know, and having the confidence in yourself to think that you can figure it out, even when it's not something that you would consider like yourself the most knowledgeable expert in. That's probably the biggest.
What are you proud of about your hometown of Muskegon?
Lots of things. I love the history of Muskegon, like how we have all these amazing community resources like the public library, the public art museum, the Frohenthal Theater. I think it's really cool that it's such a small city that has those resources. And also the lakes. I love Muskegon Lake. I love Lake Michigan. Going to the beach is one of the things I do more than anything else when I come back to visit.
I'm wondering what you would tell your high school self now. What advice would you give?
I guess the same thing I said about the problem solving and having the confidence to tackle things that don't feel like they're in your strengths or your wheelhouse. Like everybody starts out from somewhere, you know? So just because it's not something you've done in the past doesn't mean you can't do it in the future.
It's nice meeting you. Thank you for telling us all about your career.
Yeah, you're welcome. It was really great talking to you.